So I'm making this video basically is like a hello and a goodbye to the 22 SS 1LE. It's in rapid blue. It's got the Recaros. It's a pretty sweet ride. I just kind of got in a financial gain situation. Bought this car back in October for sticker, back when most dealers, like I'm in Texas, so most dealers around here are doing like the markups and the extra charges for this and that. So I actually went to Oklahoma City to go get this. Owned it for about 8.5 months now. I don't think quite 9 months, but it's been a good car. It rolls fairly smooth. If you're gonna daily but not really track, I kind of recommend you get a regular SS or an LT1 or even a 2SS, just because the suspension can kind of beat you down once you get some miles on it. But owned the car for about that much time. It's got almost 11,000 miles on it. I'm actually on the way right now to CarMax to basically give it to them. So when I traded my other car in, I had a different car. When I traded it in, it was kind of like somewhat the bottom of the market, but not quite, because we're here now in May of 23, and this car has actually basically lost no value, even though I've owned it for almost a year and put 11,000 miles on it, because I paid $49 for this car, and CarMax is willing to give me $44 for this car. There's other places that are probably willing to give you maybe closer to 45 or 46. I'm not looking for anything else at the moment, and so I just decided I have quite a bit of equity in it, so I'm gonna let it go. As far as handles, like, this thing handles and shifts amazing. I think if anybody's on the fence about getting a 10-speed or a manual, you can't really go wrong with either. If you're gonna take it to the drag strip, I highly recommend, if that's gonna be your thing, I highly recommend getting an auto. This car on a tire basically ran 12.0. I think it was like a 12.1088 or something. I was within like a 100th of running a 12.0 flat in, like, I don't know, 1500 DA, 1600 DA. So it wasn't like it was perfect, but it was cooler. I think I had like a 1.7 60 foot, and it was trapping like 118. So it was moving pretty good, especially for a stock car, because I have had my other CTSV when it was bone stock. I mean, I was only running 12.3s, 12.4s in that thing, and that car is rated for 556. Granted, it's heavier, but I mean, 100 more horsepower is a pretty big difference. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn about it. I mean, because I know I'm not going to be able to get another car for the value that I got on this car. Like, they pretty much gave me 12 more than what I owed on my previous car, so that made this car much more cheaper than if you were just buying it outright. So when I financed it, I think I only financed like 37, and then I really didn't have to pay taxes, because I say I didn't, but I only had to pay like $700, because it was like the difference in the rollover amount, because they gave me 38 for my car, and this car was worth 49, so I only paid taxes on 11,000. But I'm trying to think of everything as far as the stock car, the one thing I like about this car is when you race it, you don't really have to downshift it. I've done it in manual mode and downshifted, and you pretty much will be in the right gear instantly, even if you're not in the right gear, because it'll just drop it down and pick up and go like nothing. That's one difference, like the 6L80 or the 6L90 that's in my car. If you have like an older SS or a G8 or an older Camaro, that thing is sluggish, like especially if it has to drop down on its own. Like it's like almost a second before it like really starts picking up and getting in the power band, depending on, you know, what kind of setup you got. But this thing, even just being NA, making 455, you can really feel how good the transmission is. That's one thing I think GM and even Ford, like in the newer stuff, it's just like a night and day difference. So I think there's a lot of benefits to the new stuff, but I mean, you got to pay to play. Like with HP tuners, it takes way more credits for these things. I really didn't want to mod it because I knew like I could do this potentially if I didn't want to have it for much longer. So I didn't want to have a lot of money invested into it. So I'm at that point where they offer me quite a bit more than what I owe still, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of it. But I'll post a follow-up video and see what else I could think of, because I mean, as far as driving manners, it's a pretty good daily. I almost got like 20 miles to the gallon. I did a lot of city driving, so it definitely hurt that aspect. I know like even like the first day that I got this car, it was like a 230 mile drive back to my house, and they had just filled it up, and I pretty much averaged like at least 27 to 28 miles to the gallon back home, because when I got home I still had probably over a third of a tank. So if you're dealing with, you know, having gas prices and this is your only car, like it's actually not that bad. It just depends on the conditions that you use it in, and also, you know, how heavy your foot is. But I'll do a follow-up video. I didn't want to get rid of it, but personally, like with what I have going on, it doesn't make sense to keep it. So I'll catch up with y'all later. Thanks.